This is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about Biotoxin Illness Part 4, what I call the POMC merry-go-round. What's POMC? Pro-opiomelanocortin is one of the fascinating parts of our endocrinology. It's one of the proteins your body has learned to chop into 11 different hormones in your hypothalamus. And all of those hormones take a bit of a whack by mold biotoxin. Now, if we summarize mold, we know the best. This probably refers to all biotoxins. But we do know that what happens with the gunk that gets into us, it's not any mold spore, it's the proteins in the DNA, it's all the gunk that's in the dust bunnies under our bed, what we breathe in. 30% of us can't see that gunk. 70% of us can and are perfectly innocuous or able to tolerate it. But the 30% of us who can't see it to a variable degree get sick to a variable level of exposure. And what happens inside them is those toxins set off your innate immune system. And that's your very primitive immune system that we share with our lizards and crocodiles and snakes and reptiles. And it's basically like the 911 system in a city. It's imagine a bomb going off and everybody in the city is pulling 911 fire alarms and calling the police, and the the police headquarters is overloaded with phone calls. Where did the bomb go off? Nobody knows. Nobody can see it. Nobody knows what happened because we don't have an adaptive system that identifies things precisely. Well, that's what's happening in mold illness. Your innate system, which simply kicks back and fights, fires off. And that's set off by the POMC damage. And what we think happens is that all over your body there's these fire alarms going off, and these cytokines go to your brainstem and block your leptin receptor. And your leptin receptor is really what allows you to make melanocyte-stimulating hormone. Melanocyte-stimulating hormone was identified as such because it was first found in what makes you get tan. Sounds like a very trivial behavior. Well, it turns out MSH runs many, many other functions. It's like the mother of all pro-hormones. It's sitting up there at the very beginning. And when you don't have enough melanocyte-stimulating hormone, your immune system can't function. And if your immune system can't function, then you really can't see the mold biotoxins. That's merry-go-round number one. Round and round and round you go. Because with melanocyte-stimulating hormone suppressed, you continue to be sick. You have non-specific symptoms like headache and fatigue and joint aches and exhaustion and brain fog. There are 17 other symptoms that could be caused by this. But it's the suppression of your MSH that's the first part of it. The second part, there's a second merry-go-round that gets started, and that is once you have suppressed MSH, you have a perfectly innocuous bacteria on your skin that I could culture off of my cheek, you could get off your arm or your hand, called MARCONS, multiple antibiotic resistant coag-negative staph. We'll talk about that in the coming weeks. But MARCONS gets going in your nose, and it puts out two proteins that suppress MSH further. Merry-go-round number 2. So you really have two merry-go-rounds that make this get started. These are vicious circles. Round and round and round they go, and you can be sick for months and months from one exposure. So we're going to talk next week about how to get rid of it. That takes up a drug called cholestyramine. We'll talk after that about MARCONS, and then we'll go down the other 5 or 6 steps that Dr. Shoemaker has put together in his Surviving Mold website, How to Cure You from Biotoxin Illness. If you keep following this blog, I'll explain it to you one step at a time. This is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about the biotoxin merry-go-round. Nice talking to you.